This meeting is called to order in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Law. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided. This meeting of February 5th, 2024 was published in the Courier News and Star Ledger and placed on the borough's website. Notice of this meeting was also placed on the bulletin board at Borough Hall with a complete agenda. A copy of this notice is available to the public, and a copy of this statement shall be included in the minutes of this meeting. Mayor Brian Gallagher.
Here.
Council members, Teresa Bonner.
Here.
Glenn Denny.
Here.
Tom Mitchell is excused this evening. Randy Pitts.
Here.
Gina Stravic.
Here.
Roger Vroom.
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd ask that everybody remain standing for a moment of silence on the tragic loss that our borough had, Mary Rose Feely, and I'll have a comment afterwards. Thank you. Before we get started, I'd just like to take a moment to make a few comments on the happenings of the past week, which has weighed very heavily on an entire community. So on behalf of the Borough Council, our hearts go out to Mary Rose's family on such a senseless tragedy. Mary Rose was a bright, beautiful soul that had a wonderful impact on many people. At her vigil last week, her friends all spoke of a wonderful young lady bursting with life and enthusiasm, and she pressed others to do the same. This morning, an arrest was made and a suspect was charged with murder. Our Somerville Police Department, many of whom are here today, and the Somerset County Prosecutor's Office worked tirelessly, literally around the clock, to bring this subject to justice. I remain in contact with our Somerville Police Department and the Somerset County Prosecutor's Office as this case moves forward. The outpouring of love for Mary Rose and her family is absolutely incredible, and it's palpable. We live in a wonderful borough where everyone is your neighbor, and this has impacted our entire community. Somerville is at her strongest when those that are in need are enveloped by this caring community, and it's very, very heartwarming. We've had many people call and offer their support, and it is greatly appreciated. While the council and I would like to provide additional comments, we are obligated to allow the investigative work to continue. Any further comments regarding this case will come from the Somerset County Prosecutor's Office. But just as an aside, I will tell you, the Somerset County Prosecutor could not say enough about our Somerville Police Department. From the police chief on down to our entire staff, the work that was done by our detectives and our patrol officers was nothing short of tireless. So on behalf of the community, I thank each and every one of you for the work not only that you did over the past week, but that you do every day. So thank you. So we have on the agenda tonight the promotion of 3 of our police personnel, and it's very gratifying that we do this. These are officers that have dedicated their lives to ensuring that that the streets of Somerville remain safe, and they do remain safe. I think that's something that has been on the mind of a lot of people, and it's because, and I don't know, Kevin, can the camera turn around for a second? And I'd like to get a picture of everybody in the back there if we could. Our officers have come out to support the promotions of these 3 individuals. And I just want folks to see that we have probably half the department here, roughly. Yeah, probably a little more than half the department here. Again, thank you all. So, the first one, we have a resolution number 047, approving promotion of Sergeant DePalma to Lieutenant.
So moved. Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denny,
Yes.
Randy Pitts,
Yes.
Gina Stravic,
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
All right, let's present the oath of office to Darren DePalma and his family.
Your left hand's going to go on the Bible. You're going to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Darren DePalma,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of New Jersey,
and the state of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I do further solemnly swear
I do further solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of police lieutenant
all the duties of police lieutenant
for the Borough of Somerville
for the Borough of Somerville
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, you two.
They did a great job. And don't worry about the baby. I had 5 kids, that's music. That sound is music. So that is awesome. You bring her in here. Number 048 is approving promotion of Officer Lippick to Sergeant. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denny,
Yes.
Randy Pitts,
Yes.
Gina Stravic,
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
Okay, oath of office to Jason Lippick and his family.
And you're going to raise your right hand. Left on the Bible, and repeat after me. I
I,
state your name.
Jason Lippick,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of New Jersey,
and the state of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I do further solemnly swear
I do further solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of police sergeant
all the duties of police sergeant
for the Borough of Somerville
for the Borough of Somerville
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Okay, number 049 is approving the promotion of Officer Suloff to Sergeant. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denny,
Yes.
Randy Pitts,
Yes.
Gina Stravic,
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
All right, oath of office for Josiah Suloff. That's a crew.
Bible, you raise your right hand, and you're gonna repeat after me. Just wanna make sure I know we got the same height.
I state your name,
I, Josiah Suloff,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of New Jersey,
and the state of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I do further solemnly swear
I do further solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of police sergeant
all the duties of police sergeant
for the Borough of Somerville
for the Borough of Somerville
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
You guys did a great job.
So I'm assuming you really don't want to stay for the rest of the council meeting? So we're going to take a 2-minute recess. The family can gather, and then everybody who wants to stay can stay, and everybody who wants to get out and have a little bit of fun after this, please do. 2-minute recess. Did he say I want to leave?
No, I heard a little kid goes, I don't want to leave.
That's good.
It is very interesting subject.
Take care now.
Good. All right, folks, let's pick up on item number 6, which is the approval of the minutes of January 16, 2024.
So moved. Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Departmental reports and notices are as listed. Just a quick note on A, which is the updated policy on emergency warning devices. That should actually mean a few less sirens in and around town, all over. They're finding that the sirens aren't making a whole lot of difference. Obviously, they need them at the intersections, but as in travel lanes while they're traveling, they're finding that they don't need them. Number 8, committee reports. Let's start with Gina.
The rescue squad has been actively serving the community. The meeting, the monthly meeting is next week, so I'll have more in a couple of weeks. And the Board of Health met recently, and we will be working on some public projects to bring screenings to the community and CPR and first aid, so more to come.
Great, thank you. Glenn.
For Office of Emergency Management, we had our debrief on January the 23rd about our January 9th and 10th storm. As if you listened last council meeting, Jason Kraska gave an excellent report on everything that had happened. Many of the pieces had gone well, things that we talked about improving. We're trying to improve communication with landlords and renters, and also developing an organized parking plan. The Environmental Commission for the Office of Emergency Management was also taking pictures of the flood areas, which will lead me to environmental. So, Environmental Commission, we meet next week, so I'll have more then. But since our last meeting, we've had a number of members went to the Somerville High School Climate Summit, and they were very impressed with the student presentations. And as an interesting note, they were even brave enough to taste banana bread made with cricket powder or cricket flour.
I tried it.
And they said it was pretty good. So, and they hope to have more collaboration with not just the high school, but all of our schools here in town. And then also we have 2 members that have been leading a virtual training for ANJAC, the Association for New Jersey Environmental Commissions. And we will meet here next week on Tuesday at 7:30. So you're more than welcome to join us.
All right, excellent, thank you. Teresa.
Thank you. So the Library Board of Trustees met on January 25th, and we received a report from the branch manager, Jen Sulligan, about, it was the annual report for 2023. The library, Somerville Library, has been doing amazingly well. Just the last quarter, program attendance and outreach was up 270%. Circulation is up 14%. Meeting room usage up 57%. People are loving going to the library, which is wonderful. And please, if you're interested in attending any of the many adult programs or children programs in February and March, check out their website, the Somerville Public Library website, and you can register for the events on the website.
Okay, great, thank you. Randy.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good evening, everyone. The Downtown Somerville Alliance held their annual meeting last Monday at Alfonso's. The meeting was well attended with more than 50-plus stakeholders in attendance. I want to thank everyone who took the time to come out, especially Councilwoman Teresa Bonner, who was honored for her services to the DSA, as well as Councilman Glenn Denise. Some of the highlights: the district had a total of 3.5 million visits in 2023, with more than 800,000 unique visitors. The average visit was about 111 minutes spending time throughout our downtown. The DSA welcomed more than 10 new businesses in 2023 and already have several new businesses in the pipeline to open in 2024. 2023's highest performing events was the Somerville St. Patrick's Day Parade, which the DSA will become a premier sponsor drawing over 25,000 participants, followed by the Holiday Jubilee event with more than 15,000 attendees. You can view the entire annual report on the DSA's website at downtownsomerville.org. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Roger?
Recreation update. So spring soccer registration is now open for youth in grades 1 through 8 who reside or attend school in Somerville. Travel players are eligible. Teams play intertown teams with surrounding towns in a league administered by Bridgewater Recreation. Practices will begin in early April. We need coaches. New coaches must obtain the Rutgers safety certification and submit a fingerprint/background check. If you're interested, please contact the Recreation Department. The cost for the registration is $55. Registrations are accepted on a first-come, first-served basis. Players will be waitlisted if a team is full or without a coach. No late registrations will be accepted. Registration will be open until March 3rd. Residents are encouraged to register online at register.communitypass.net/Somerville. And that is all I have this evening.
Okay, great, thank you. Just two items. One, volunteers. This borough is run on volunteers and volunteerism. And this year, we've opened up 3 new committees. One is an infrastructure committee, another one is public safety, and another is seniors and veterans. And we are looking for volunteers. If you go onto the borough website, we have a link on there which will give you descriptions of the 3 areas and what we're looking to accomplish in those 3 areas. We are encouraging anybody. A lot of us get online and we make comment, but what we're trying to do is to bring people out and actually volunteer their time. You'll find it a very rewarding experience, and as you volunteer, you'll discover a whole lot of things about Somerville that you didn't know. So highly encourage people to come out and volunteer. And then second, just so folks know, there is a resolution on the agenda tonight. It's a referral to the planning board from the Borough Council requesting that the planning board begin a zoning review for firearms and firearm stores for future. It doesn't affect the one that is planned for Union Avenue now. I can also tell you that the borough has been served with a civil action on that store. So we are not allowed to make any comment whatsoever from this point forward on that application, on that store, the opening of it. We are precluded from that by the court and by our attorney as well. So there's really nothing that we're going to be able to talk about because a resident has filed a civil action. But I can tell you that, again, that the planning board will take this up. It's to amend the existing zoning laws to determine what is appropriate and where it is appropriate. So people understand you cannot zone things out of your community. That's called exclusionary zoning. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jeremy. If we do exclude a use out of the borough completely, it opens us up for an action, and essentially we will lose that, and it then will be allowed almost anywhere. So what we have to do is create very specific zones for specific uses and those allowable uses. So that is a referral, should the council pass it, which I think they will pass it unanimously, that will go to the zoning board. The zoning board will then take that up, and they'll do it in a very public process. And they will then make recommendations back to the Borough Council for amendments to our existing zoning, should they be necessary, and then the council would have to vote to adopt that revision to the zoning ordinance. That's how the process works. So those are my 2 comments. I will go to number 9, which is a discussion item, and I've asked Colin Driver to kind of give us an update. On New Year's Day, what I articulated was that I'd like to do somewhat of a deep dive on issues at each council meeting so that the public is aware of what's transpiring, what has transpired with a specific issue. And I want to try to take one every meeting, unless we have a voluminous meeting, take one every meeting so we can give the public an update on exactly what's happening at this moment in time with a project or with an issue in town. So tonight is the solar project that is proposed for the landfill. That's just behind us on the old Somerville landfill. So Colin, I'd ask you to come up and talk to us all things solar.
Thank you, Mayor. If I can get this bill. I apologize. Can you hear me? This working?
Is it red?
No, it is now.
Okay.
Thank you.
You may want to pull that a little bit closer. There you go.
You got a volume button up there too. I don't have a pointer that's going to work with this, so I'm going to take you through this as quickly as I can. This is a quick background. Okay. This is a quick background on the landfill and then how we got to the solar project. Most of you know that the landfill was in operation for 30 years and closed in 1984. During the 80s and 90s, in fact, there was a developer appointed. They were going to do a number of things, but probably by 1998, it all fell apart. And the borough entered into litigation, and it was resolved, I think, in 2005, correct me? 4? In 2006 and 2007, public visioning took place over 18 months, determining what we could and couldn't do or what we shouldn't do on the landfill. In 2007, we issued an RFP for development of the whole landfill area. That's including this part, pardon me, back into the green seam and in its entirety. And we got about 10 responses to that RFP of varying types and descriptions. As we were entering into the interview process with those developers, the 2008 financial crisis crushed us. And all the developers went away. In 2020, well, I'll back up, even though it's not on this little chart here. In 2012, New Jersey Transit issued an RFP for the development of the property they owned in the redevelopment area. And that's what we see now. This whole development is built on what was former New Jersey Transit land. In 2020, we were approached by a number of companies that installed what they call community solar. And that is a special program put out by or endorsed by the BPU, and it was in its pilot stage. And the governing body at that time said, well, we put out an RFP, which we did, and we got providers of solar power to come in and talk to us, and we chose a company called CS Energy, and they trade as Hathaway Solar. At the same time, we amended the redevelopment plan, coming back to what you were talking about, Mayor, of zoning, to include the remediation and installation of a community solar project on specific portions of the landfill. In 2001, we submitted an application for 2, and I don't really understand these numbers, but they're big 5 megawatt generation facilities there. Under the pilot program, and we missed it by 2 points. So we refiled an application, but in 2023, the BPU pulled the pilot program short and went to a permanent program which eliminated what they call co-located solar programs. That's having 2 5 megawatt programs together. And I'll get into that in a minute. While all that was going on, the borough applied to the DEP for a modified remediation plan and also grants to remediate the garbage lobes on site.
And we've been fortunate. We've received $10 million plus to actually do that, while it only represents 75% of the cleanup cost. And I'll come back to that other 25% shortly. We also received DEP approval for the closure and capping of the landfill, which is an important step because that includes wetlands mitigation, stormwater management, and all the other things that you have to do. We received interconnection approvals from PSE&G because we'd have to plug into PSE&G's grid to provide the electricity. So currently where we are is CS Energy Hathaway has submitted a waiver request to the Board of Public Utilities. The reason for this is the whole project was built under the pilot program guidelines. And it will be profitable both to CS Energy and to the borough if we're allowed to develop under those pilot guidelines. So we've applied for a waiver. We've been told that it's been accepted. We have a receipt for it. And, pardon me, we're now waiting to meet with some senior people at the BPU to plead our case with them. Otherwise, we just get trapped in the circular discussion, and staff will make a decision in some point in the future. So the benefits are community solar provides discounted electricity to medium and low-income houses and to government entities. It needs to be managed, and it'd be managed by CS Energy, we believe, at this particular point in time. The beauty is that under the redevelopment law, we maintain the ownership of the land that the solar is built on. And we're actually charging CS Energy rent for that. And that rent, or a portion thereof, will pay the borough's contribution to the cleanup of and capping of 25%. So I've got my cheat sheet here. It's not in the slides, and I'll show you some pretty pictures in a minute. Our current agreement, we will have to amend it depending on what the BPU says, but the current agreement we have with them is that the rent will be around $400,000 per year. The contribution to the cleanup varies somewhat, but it's in the vicinity of $150,000 a year. And the difference between 400 and 150 is what the borough gets to keep. Now, I'm pretty confident that that will decline somewhat once the BPU makes a decision on what we can and can't do. And we work out the final costs of remediation. Right now, they've gone from 11 to a little over $12 million, just because we've moved a few years down the line. Right now, we've got 10 million and change in the bank waiting to start the cleanup. We're hoping that we can begin the cleanup anyhow, regardless of BPU, in the coming year. One of our big concerns was if we've got to argue with the BPU for a number of months, is the project going to stall? And we've been told, no, we've got the money, let's move with it. And if it takes a little longer to have the project built out and we're not receiving rent, the developer will fund the part of the cleanup anyhow, and we'll reimburse them at some point in time through the rent rebates.
So we have 10.
We've got
About $10 million
10 and a quarter million, I believe.
waiting so that we can begin
But
environmental
you've got
cleanup.
a resolution
Yes.
tonight to accept the last $2 million.
Correct.
Yeah,
And that is all money that's earmarked for the environmental cleanup.
yes.
Okay.
So
Right, so what-
Colin, I just want to make you aware that the PowerPoint's not streaming, but certainly you are, and
Well, that's
so
a
is
bit
everybody else.
scary.
But if your point, your presentation's perfect, but because you were covering what was on there, but now you're leading it to pictures, so I just want to make you aware that it's not streaming the picture, but, so, just as an FYI.
Thank you, Kevin. What I'm showing here then, I'll have to change the way I talk a little bit, I guess, is an overhead view of the proposed solar plant. You'll notice that it's actually in 4 sections, even though we're only calling it 2. On the main garbage lobe, you've got 2 huge arrays. To the right, close to Station Road and the Pulte development, there is a lesser array. They are joined, and on the bottom, which is also a garbage lobe, we've got a smaller array. Now, I'm sorry that people can't see it, but there's a series of purple searchlights shining on this. And
We'll get this up on the website.
I could switch cameras and try to stream that if you like.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Okay.
Yeah.
better than looking at me. I'm nearly done.
It's okay, we want the public to be able to see
Yeah.
this.
Well, we probably still should be able to put it up, I think. Is it streaming? But no one else. Can you see it up there?
No.
It's, Kevin's working on it.
Not very well, though.
You need one of your kids to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to get that one to show this.
Yeah. There we go.
I don't
Oh,
think it's
that
gonna
is,
work.
oh my God. Is that a ball patch there?
Sorry.
Oh God, that's worse. That was successful.
We'll get it on the website.
We will. Coming back,
Okay.
those searchlights are keys to what you're going to quickly see. As we were going through the design process, we were concerned about the residents, particularly of the Pulte development. So what you see here, the top illustration is taken from the second floor of the townhouses along South Davenport. The lower one is an illustration taken from ground level. This is the future entrance to the green seam with and without solar panels, right? And the top one is a current photograph. If you go out there now, you'll see that break in the fence, and you'll see that trail which needs some grass cut, and just looking out over the garbage lobes. The bottom one shows what it will look like with the solar arrays installed. That is another second floor, but it was taken from a different vantage point. It looks across all the installations. The building you see in the left mid view there is Sarah James. This is the view of the entrance to the landfill off 206. Current, and what it will look like. And just to bring you back, it just shows the connections. It shows the solar fields. It shows the linkage. If those of you recall that if you go onto the green seam, there's a bridge over the stream. They'll be utilising that bridge as a place to hang the power cables off. Right? And then the parking lot below that in grey. When they are building the solar farm, that'll be a laydown area for all the materials that come in. And the little spike, it looks like an upside down thumb. That will be the internal connection so that the construction vehicles can get up and do their job. And that's all I got.
Okay, so essentially the status now is we have to put our team together to go to the BPU and help them understand that their change in the rules midstream has had a serious effect on our project.
Yes, absolutely. And we've reached out at your encouragement to the commissioners of the BPU, and hopefully we'll meet with at least one of them in the not-too-distant future to, start the process.
And again, the problem is, originally you were allowed to have 2 5-megawatt sites side by side,
Owned by the same company.
owned by the same company. Now you can only have one.
One.
Okay.
And what that would mean if we wanted, and if CS Energy wanted to stay in the game with us, we'd have to subdivide the landfill. They'd have to form another company somehow along the line, and it would probably delay us another 18 months, 2 years.
So the problem is government process getting in the way of progress.
The interesting thing, you correct me, the interesting thing about this is the endorsement we've got from the Department of Environmental Protection has been fantastic, because it meets every one of their stated forward goals of renewable energy, greenhouse emission reduction, all that,
Capping a landfill.
capping a landfill. And we've got their full support. In fact, some of their senior people have reached out to people at the BPU already.
Well, you and I have faced a few challenges where one arm of government says one and another arm says the other, and we try to bring them together
True.
gently.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Yeah, okay.
That's
Does anybody have any questions at the council table? Okay. Just thought it was important to begin to bring everybody up to speed on these various projects. So, Mr. Driver, thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt.
Appreciate the info, and we will get that up online in the next day or two.
Yeah, I'll get this to Kevin tomorrow, and from there, it's up to Patty, and she's good. She'll get it up there.
Good.
Kevin, did you share with Colin the contact? Jeff Lamborn from EC and I were at a Sustainable Somerset, and the BPU commissioner spoke?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
absolutely, yes. All right, thank you, Colin.
Thank you, sir.
All right, item number 10, ordinances for introduction. Item number 2727 is amending Chapter 147, Section 5, entitled Permitted Number of Stickers, Bulk Items, specifically amending Section B, amending the cost for stickers to $6, and specifically allowing bulk items to be a part of the sanitation sticker program. This essentially increases as of July, I believe it's July 1, Kevin?
Yes.
The bulk sticker pickup cost, which is currently $5, it is going up to $6. It's not required by law, but I do allow on ordinance introduction public comment, so I will open up I'll open up public comment on number 2727. Hearing none. Yep, yes, sir. Yes. Just state your name and address for the record, and please address your comments to me.
For sure. Jeff Lamborn, 32 Lisa Terrace. What constitutes a bulk item?
Kevin?
Yeah, it's a little complicated, and the idea is that we're trying to get people to recycle and reuse and repurpose things. But bulk items on the current list everything. There's a master list, and it does list everything from, fencing to extra bags. Predominantly
Couches?
Yeah, predominantly it's furniture.
Yeah.
Is it the same list that exists currently, or is it additional items? You say bulk items.
No, it's the list that exists
I
currently.
should have started with that. That was
Yeah.
my question.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and that list is available on the website, so if people have a curiosity as to how many stickers they would need for a couch or some other type of bulk item, they can access that info.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Other public comment? Hearing none, we'll close public comment on 2727. Motion for introduction.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denny,
Yes.
Randy Pitts,
Yes.
Gina Stravic,
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance number 2728 is an ordinance to exceed the 2024 municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. Kevin, do you want to give us an overview on this, please?
Yeah, so the state of New Jersey Department of Community Affairs allows, puts caps into place on spending. If we have funding left over that cap, we're able to put it into what they call a cap bank and then utilize it the next year as part of our budget process. So it does allow us a little more flexibility in areas that are governed by the cap. This is, this is kind of standard. You know, we're in the budget process now, we're getting close to the really end of it. And it allows us just a little more flexibility when we have the cap spending limits in certain areas.
So it allows us to save previous year's monies to be able to use in the next year's monies.
Correct, yeah. If we don't utilize up to that cap, then
Yes.
we're able to bank it and then use it again next year.
Okay. I'll open up public comment on 2728. Hearing none, close 2728, and motion for introduction, please.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denis.
Yes.
Randy Pitts.
Yes.
Gina Stravic.
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance number 2721 is amending Chapter 6 of the Borough Code entitled Marriage and Civil Union Ceremony Fees. These fees, the rate and the fees have to be codified under an ordinance. It's the rate that's established for me to conduct a civil union or a marriage. Motion to open public comment.
So moved?
Second?
Discussion. Roll call.
This is for public comment.
Correct.
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denis.
Yes.
Randy Pitts.
Yes.
Gina Stravic.
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
Okay, public comment on 2721 is now open. Hearing none, we'll close 2721, and motion for adoption.
So moved?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denis.
Yes.
Randy Pitts.
Yes.
Gina Stravic.
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
All right, 2722 is amending Chapter 166-50, Schedule 9, entitled Stop Intersections. This is the intersection of Hamilton and Southside Ave, sorry. I was going to say Fairview, but it's Southside. This allows this to be a four-way stop on this intersection, and it's a lighted four-way stop. So can I have a motion to open public session on 2722?
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denis.
Yes.
Randy Pitts.
Yes.
Gina Stravic.
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
All right, public session on 2722 is open. Hearing no, yes.
It's a good idea. That is enticing.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, please come up. And you didn't state your name and address for the record, Rich. No, that's okay, that's all right. We know who you are.
Hi, Megan Britton, 37 Southside, so it's my neighborhood, and I thank you, it's already up, so it's very useful. I see people still getting used to it, still looking around the corner, but I'm so happy it's there, especially if the Southside Park is gonna be built there, and there's gonna be so much more traffic, and it's just so hard to see. It'll slow down the traffic of people speeding down our wider road, and so I'm thankful for that being put there already. I'm also thankful that you worked on the lights for PSC&G, that light next to us. It looks a lot better on our street.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
thank
And
you.
thank you for coming out and making your comments known. Thank you. Any other public comment? Hearing none, we'll close the public's portion and motion for adoption, please.
So moved?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denis.
Yes.
Randy Pitts.
Yes.
Gina Stravic.
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
2723 is amending Chapter 166 entitled Bus Stops. These are bus stops that will be placed onto Veterans Memorial Drive by the ramp access for the train station on either side of the road, both east and westbound. We'll open up the public hearing on 2723 with a motion for it.
So moved?
Second?
Discussion?
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denis.
Yes.
Randy Pitts.
Yes.
Gina Stravic.
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
Public hearing on 2723 is now open. Yes.
Do I need to state my name? Jeff Lamborn, 32 Lisa Terrace. Which bus lines or plans are for those bus stops?
This is for the county's, is it the Scoop?
The
Yeah.
scoop bus. Yeah, they actually stopped there without a designated stop, so we're just creating that designated stop.
Nice, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Hearing none, we'll close the public comment and motion for adoption.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denis.
Yes.
Randy Pitts.
Yes.
Gina Stravic.
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
All right, 2724 is amending chapter as noted, on-street parking meter zones, reducing meter parking time requirements on Veterans Memorial Drive East on the south side of the roadway to 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday. This is so people can actually park for free, so they can come to a council meeting and not have to pay to come and speak at a council meeting, which I think is extremely important. So, can I ask for a motion to open the public hearing on 2724?
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? Roll.
Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denny,
Yes.
Randy Pitts,
Yes.
Gina Stravic,
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
Public hearing on 2724 is now open. Hearing none, we'll close 2724 and motion for adoption.
So moved?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denny,
Yes.
Randy Pitts,
Yes.
Gina Stravic,
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
2725 is establishing Chapter 103 of the Borough Code entitled Legalized Gaming. This is essentially housekeeping. It just codifies the ability for gaming, bingo, raffles to be able to take place on Sundays. I'll ask for a motion to open the public hearing on 2725.
So moved?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denny,
Yes.
Randy Pitts,
Yes.
Gina Stravic,
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
2725, public hearing is now open. Yes.
Bill Cisco, 37 Eastern Avenue. Would this possibly open up the door for gambling, for slot machines and all that stuff? I'm just curious.
No, this is relegated, state law trumps here,
Yeah.
and this, all this does is allow us to run I shouldn't say games of chance, bingo, raffles. It came about, we had an applicant who wanted to run a raffle or some kind of 50-50 on a Sunday, and the borough code did not allow for it, so it was in conflict. The state code allows for it, but no, it's not going to open it up for slot machines or poker or.
Just want
Yeah.
to be careful
Yep.
because of other issues that are going on. so-
Understood.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment on 2725? Hearing none, we'll close that public session and motion for adoption.
So moved?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Council member Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denny,
Yes.
Randy Pitts,
Yes.
Gina Stravic,
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
2726 is amending ordinance 2682, as noted, establishing a salary range for employee titles to be paid to certain officers and employees of the Borough of Somerville. As a matter of day-to-day business, housekeeping, we have to have set a minimum and maximum salary for every employee within the borough, and that's what this does. So motion for public hearing, to open public hearing on 2726.
So moved?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call?
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denny,
Yes.
Randy Pitts,
Yes.
Gina Stravic,
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
All right, public hearing on 2726 is now open. Hearing none, we'll close 2726. Motion for adoption.
So moved?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denny,
Yes.
Randy Pitts,
Yes.
Gina Stravic,
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
Okay, at this point, we are going to open up to the meeting to the public. I would ask that you state your name and address for the record, and please address your comments to me. You can come up to the microphone here to my left, maybe on your right. For those who came in late, what I will tell you is that if you want to make comment on the firearms store, that is fine. This is the forum for it. But we are not allowed to comment on it. A civil action has been filed, and the borough is included in that civil action, so we can make no comment whatsoever on that. So I will ask for a motion to open the meeting to the public.
So moved?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denny,
Yes.
Randy Pitts,
Yes.
Gina Stravic,
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
Okay. Public is now open.
Hi, everyone. Michelle Fronheim-Vosk, 3 South Middle Street in Somerville. When you were referring to exclusionary zoning, do you know what you were referring to specifically?
No, that's a general statement.
Okay, it's
So-
not correct. So, I mean, I would really look into that before you make sweeping statements like that.
Well,
If
I-
you're referring to the Mount Laurel project, that is for residential only, not for businesses. So I just wanted to encourage you to check your facts before stating that to the town.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeremy, can you clarify that, please?
I think you meant it as a more general term. It has been used in the context of the
Yeah.
Mount Laurel housing, but it does apply generally
That's correct. Thank you. Yeah. If you would like to state something else, please come. Don't yell from the audience, please.
Do you have a site that you can source that from?
That's the dictionary definition, and that's the way that the way I understood the mayor was using it. He wasn't using it in
It's a
Mount Laurel.
specific term to Mount Laurel, so.
If,
And Piscataway has excluded that use from the town, so it is possible. So I would just caution against that.
it absolutely is possible, but if you're challenged in court, you stand a very good chance of losing.
It's not a guarantee, right?
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Hi, Rebecca Scott, 107 Mountain Avenue. As a longtime Somerville resident and parent, I'm here to express my strong disagreement with the planned gun store and to explain a few of the reasons why I'm most concerned. I know many of you, I've supported your campaigns, and I recognize that this is a thankless job. With that said, you have been elected to support all of our residents and all of our best interests. So we are counting on you to do what is right. One council member has talked about working tirelessly to improve our community, and this business certainly would not. First off, the proximity to our elementary school is incredibly concerning. We pride ourselves for being a walking district and even have a walking school bus. That means that many children would be walking right past this new store each and every day. I worry about the impact on our children's already fragile mental health. Sadly, this generation is very attuned to gun violence, going through regular lockdown drills at school and hearing about school shootings far too often. Thoughtfully thinking through all of the implications of this store, including permits, insurance, and countless other factors, has not taken place. These plans also have not been shared widely with concerned residents and parents. Everything has been done very quietly, making this all feel sneaky, which is not right. Gun stores have a frighteningly high rate of robberies, and those would be taking place in the heart of a vibrant neighborhood filled with children of all ages. Given that a car flipped over on that street just a few weeks ago, and a serious accident ended up on someone's lawn last Christmas, this street and those around it are clearly not equipped for increased traffic. I grew up in Somerville. I love raising my kids here. I enjoy coaching recreation sports, supporting our schools, and other town programs and initiatives. I've always been proud to say that I'm from here, and I was proud to come back. I love this town, and I understand the need to bring in new businesses, but I love my kids more, and I demand that we prioritize the safety of our community. I'll end on a personal note. A college classmate and friend of mine lost her daughter in Sandy Hook, and what her and her family have been through cannot even be described in words. I honestly don't know how she has gotten past it. Her children, her other family members, her friends, and hearing her reflections and her anecdotes reflecting on what their experience has been absolutely heartbreaking. We planted a tree in Jessica's memory, but I also promised myself that I would take any opportunity to speak up in her defense and to always stand up for our kids and for school safety. We now have that opportunity together, and we cannot allow this store to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Other public comment?
Jeff Lamborn, 32 Lisa Terrace. I'm coming to talk about what you had started the meeting with tonight, talking about the event on the evening of January 30th. In light of a lot of the ears that are in the room, I'm not going to get into any specifics, but the seriousness of the incident certainly was something that I was surprised the borough itself had not released a statement regarding that. It's nice to hear that tonight. But I would think within 24 to 48 hours after such an event, something could have been said. Obviously, specifics about the incident and investigation related to it are out of that jurisdiction, but a bringing together of people and a lot of the nervousness that my family and a lot of friends in the neighborhood that I know are feeling currently. It would be nice to see that addressed from the borough, but thank you for bringing it up tonight.
Thank you. Other public comment? Yes.
Robert Slawski, 411 Williams Street. Here to talk about, first, about the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit through the town. And there's little situation on Union Avenue that needs to be addressed. I had mentioned it to a couple people that are involved in the town, but I haven't seen any action done on it yet. So over by the school, Vanderveer School, coming eastbound, no, wait, that's westbound. There's the end of school zone sign, and then after that, there's a couple 25-mile-an-hour signs that were put up, but you can't really see them because the trees are in the way. So that needs to be addressed. The trees either need to be removed, the signs either need to be moved, or they need to be trimmed. And then I'm just gonna bring up the trucks and the speeding on all streets, but I live on William Street, so I want to address that too. The patrols on that street have been less and less. I don't know what's going on. I've been told that, they're patrolling all the time and they do that on that road, but I don't see them that much. Then the next I'm gonna bring up is the street cleaner. I guess it has disappeared. I'm not sure. It doesn't come around much. But I think it's very important for the street cleaner to come around more now that the roads are being redone. And if it doesn't come around, the roads are gonna start getting bad. And I have another one about the roads. PSC&G and the water company, they do horrible work. I mean, I'm driving around in my van. My van is falling apart because, all the big potholes and the raised bumps and stuff. You can't even drive up William Street coming up from Grove Street. It's just horrible. And then I have a personal problem with water coming in my backyard from about 3 or 4 different neighbors. And it comes through my next door neighbor's yard. He had some landscape work done, and now it's coming into my yard, and it's really bad. I don't know what to do about it. I had sent an email to Kevin, and I don't know if he received it or not, but I got no response, so I don't know what to do about that. And then last, I want to mention a problem about, drugs. I think that's a bigger problem than the guns will ever be in this country. And just was hoping I can hear a couple comments of maybe some of the things I had mentioned.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So I have a list. I just want to get through public comment before I address. Any other public comment?
Bronwyn Pucci, 63 West Orchard Street. Mayor Gallagher, I've been doing a lot of thinking since the last Borough Council meeting on January 16th, where about a dozen of us spoke out against the proposed location for high caliber ordinance. Since then, I've had some time to consider what you said that evening when you spoke before opening up public comment that night. One of the things you said was, I want you to know that this is not something that we can change. And a few moments later you said, there really is nothing that can be done. Tonight, you see before you concerned citizens. As I mentioned at the last meeting, for every one of us who is here to speak tonight, you better believe there are countless more people in town who feel the same way, but aren't able to be here, and their voices and opinions matter too. I know of business owners who are considering not renewing their leases or searching for alternate locations so that they don't have to operate in close proximity to a gun shop. I know of teachers exploring jobs in other districts and substitutes who will refuse jobs at Vanderveer so that they don't have to teach just steps away from a gun shop. And I know of homeowners who have heard from their realtors, sell now before this gun shop opens and your property values tank. I have seen the investments and improvements that have been made here in Somerville over the last 20 plus years. I've seen our downtown thrive, our schools attract engaged and motivated teachers, and our property values rise. And yet now we're faced with a store selling firearms and ammunition just steps away from where our youngest children attend school. And when we express concern, you tell us this is not something we can change? In the face of data about what gun stores do to crime rates and property values in a neighborhood, in the face of an ongoing teacher shortage, And in the face of all the progress that has been made to turn Somerville into a great place to live, it seems extremely reckless to just wring your hands and say there is really nothing that can be done. Most voters don't elect leaders expecting them to feign helplessness in the face of adversity. Your constituents have been telling you for weeks that this is not the right location for this shop. You get to choose whether or not you're willing to hear us, and whether or not you're willing to do some hard work and think creatively and encourage the owners to find an alternate location for their business. There is plenty that can be done. And if you don't do it, and this shop does open in this location, then you all will be affected by the consequences, both as residents and as elected officials. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Caroline Flamos, 37 West Spring Street. So I support the council sending the motion to the planning and zoning boards to reconsider the zones in our town. They are very out of date. I strongly encourage the council, planning board, and zoning board to consider doing what Piscataway did, which is to make a 1,000-foot gun-free school zone as the crow flies from the boundaries of school property. A zone that cannot sell any type of weapons. Additionally, I ask that our town look at the process for approving businesses and consider New Jersey law S 1368, requiring that current certificates of insurance be collected from a landlord and tenant to ensure that they have at a minimum $500,000 of liability insurance, and that the company is aware of the business taking place on premises, as the policy could be voided if not. And therefore our citizens would potentially be at risk visiting that business, walking on the sidewalks in that business, or walking into any other business within the same building if the policy is voided by the landlord not telling the insurance company what business is taking place on premises. And I speak from knowledge because I used to sell commercial insurance policies. Please consider our children as your first responsibility. They're our most precious and irreplaceable resource. I say that coming from a very strong place, because while it would be awful for the town to experience a lawsuit from a potential business, I want you to understand that those Sandy Hook families, no matter how much money they got from victim relief funds, no matter how much money they got from whatever lawsuits they filed, will never replace their children. Children are an irreplaceable resource. They are human beings, and they deserve for us to protect them. They will be your doctors, your lawyers, and your council people as you age. They are our future, and we need to invest in their physical and emotional safety. We are seeing a mental health crisis since the pandemic, and I believe it is in no small part due to the fact that adults have been placing weapons ahead of their health and safety. And by these children having to walk by a gun shop in their walking school bus on the way to school, what better reminder every single day on the way to school and back that their safety and health is taking a back seat. Finally, I would like to urge the council to look at the safety procedures in public and private schools in town, inclusive of daycares. We have no children to spare, and no parent deserves what the parents of Uvalde had to experience, identifying their children by their sneakers. Just marinate in that for a second. My mother, we lost my sister as an adult. She died a few years ago. It was actually 6 years ago this week. She will never be the same. It shatters families, and that's losing an adult child. Imagine losing your precious baby. Thank you.
Thank you. Other public comment?
Hi, I'm Kate Ambrose. I live at 204 East Cliff Street. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I made my feelings known last council meeting, and I appreciated the opportunity. Listening to people talk about Piscataway zoning restrictions on firearm sales. I just wanted to list the number of ways this shop would have been excluded from opening in this very location if we had anything close to what Piscataway has. The premises is not within 1,000 feet of any of the following: nursery schools, preschools, child, adult, or special needs daycare centers, elementary, middle, or high schools, state or county university or colleges, other schools not falling within the definition of subsection B4 and 5, funeral homes, health services facilities, other firearms sales dealers, assisted living facilities, churches or other places of worship, Sunday school, church or religious school, liquor stores, establishments in which alcoholic beverages are sold for consumption on the premises, parks, playground, and commercial recreation facilities. How sad that this shop is allowed to open with a number of these things. When we appeal to the zoning board to look at these again, can we please look at something similar to what Piscataway has done in order to protect ourselves from these shops opening in these locations in the future? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Bill Cisco, 37 Eastern Avenue. Just want to thank everybody for those comments. Those are great. I have a different safety issue I'd like to address, and I would like you guys to consider it, and you could probably get this done real easy. This would be a quick win for the council. And I know you're starting a new safety team, and I appreciate that, but by the time that's put together and they're able to do things, I just didn't want to wait that long, so that's why I'm here tonight. Turning left out of the Somerville Middle School parking lot onto High Street. I do it in the morning when I drop off my kids for early band camp. It is extremely dangerous. It's so extremely dangerous that we now go through the parking lot, weave our way around, come out onto Davenport and go around, but just closer to more children. Okay, so that's what I want to talk about. During periods of high use, especially in the morning, and being near the school students. And I want to say that there are already blocked spaces on both sides of that entrance. It's not enough, okay? And then the other thing is that when you put SUVs at those first parking spots, you can't see around the SUVs, all right? Rush hour at drop-off times in AM and PM make it even worse. Speeding on High Street, we know speeding is a big issue in town. It's especially big on High Street. The morning sunrise comes right down High Street. And when you're turning left, you look and you can't see anything. And you have an SUV there, you have to creep real far out just to make a safe turn, okay? So my suggestions for improvement are to block off the 3 parking spaces to the east of the exit and the 2 spaces to the west. This can easily be done. And there's precedents all over town. There's precedents right around the block on Cliff Street, so it's easy to do. It could be done tomorrow. I would also suggest you make the corner of High Street and Davenport a 4-way stop. That will help slow down traffic as they approach. I can't believe there's not one there already, considering how many students cross there. In addition, lights need to be improved. It's a very dark corner. Reduce the speed limit on High Street from Ross to Mercer from 25 to 15. It's a school zone. Well, let's reduce it. Slow down the traffic, erect speed humps, install a flashing speed sign. There's lots of different ways we can do it. I will email this to you all for consideration. Again, it's really dangerous. We do everything we can to avoid it. So go do it someday on a bright sunny day, get there at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and try to turn left out of there. You'll be scared out of your mind. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Hi. Hi. My name is Maisie Walsh, 17 West Cliff Street. So I wasn't going to speak today, 'cause public speaking is not really my thing. This is my first town council meeting ever, and I like it. It's nice. It's nice to know that I can come somewhere and I can talk about how I feel about things that are going on in my community, And today, as you can see, I'm talking about things that not only I feel about, but that a lot of our community has very strong feelings about. So my comments today are largely with regard to the gun and ammo store that is intending to open within the gun-free school zone at Vanderveer Elementary School. A little background about me. My husband and I bought our first home in Somerville in 2021. We were super excited about it. We were actually not intending to come to Somerville at all. We were going to go to one of the surrounding towns, only to find that this big, sprawling suburban area was not really what we wanted. And we only found that out by driving from one end of that town to the other and coming through Somerville. And in doing so, we saw that Somerville was this amazing, beautiful community, just vibrant. We have this amazing downtown. We have the Downtown Somerville Alliance, and I now know that just does wonderful things for the community. They just do these amazing events, and they take care of everyone. And overall, what we really noticed was that Somerville was a super diverse family town, and we loved that. And so we bought our first house here, and we started to build our family here. Today, our family is continuing to grow. One of the other reasons why I'm up here talking is for my son at home, and of course the one on the way, right? And this is really about them. So with that all being said, so child safety is at the forefront of our minds, myself and my husband. We always reevaluate changes in the town. So traffic patterns, all these stop signs, all these like accidents that happen on Cliff and Grove, right? All the crazy things that go on all the time. We're constantly reevaluating that, and we're thinking about, the path that our children are going to take to get to school. They're going to take a walking path to all of the schools that they're going to be going to. And we think about that a lot. And that's why when we found out that this gun and ammo store was opening where it was, we were shocked. It's on a walking path that our children would take. And that just shocked us to our core, just based on everything that we had learned about Somerville in the time that we had been here, that would be happening. We really can't imagine why such a family-friendly and safe town would agree to doing such a thing. One reason that this is so surprising is that crime rates around gun shops are so high, and I know someone else mentioned that as well. Per the ATF Federal Firearms Licensee Theft and Loss Report, in 2021, gun shops were the victims of theft and robbery at a rate of 2 times a day in the United States. That type of statistic is a major concern when considering child safety in our town. Additionally, in 2024, so far, it's the beginning of February, there have already been 5 incidents of gunfire on school grounds, resulting in 3 deaths and 7 injuries nationally. Gun violence at schools feels like an epidemic in this country recently. The mental and emotional well-being of students and their parents is suffering. To open a gun shop specifically on the walking path of many students unnecessarily causes anxiety, a general feeling of unease, and a lack of feeling safe in a town that everyone calls home. Some people are criticizing our argument, and they're saying that this is an argument about gun control and the Second Amendment. It is not. This is an argument about our kids and their right to safety in our town. It's not an argument that a gun store shouldn't open in Somerville. Rather, it's an argument that a gun store shouldn't be allowed to open in a gun-free school zone. Our kids deserve better than this. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Christina Edelman, 42 Coddington Place. Last time that I spoke with you, I spoke words really requesting and looking forward to seeing what your actions would be after hearing our concerns. I am enthused and hopeful about rezoning and having those reflect the values of the town and the values of the council. I'm not here to speak to you about the things that I've already told you about my feelings about guns, their nearness to our children. That has been well established, and I imagine their concerns felt by a lot of you. So my words are, so far, of thanks, but also encouraging creative thinking, as has been mentioned before. I know that we all operate within the laws of our town and within the bureaucracy that we need to function in, and I would encourage all of the council, everyone listening, to think creatively about what within our laws can be done to ensure the safety of our children. Working with and hearing from some of the very wonderful civilians who have jumped into action at this to learn about laws that I had no idea about, to find flaws within our own systems, to find bureaucracy that could potentially hinder or prevent a store from opening. So work within the systems that you have to get the results that you want. Thank you.
Thank you. Other public comment?
Hi, Aaron St. Angelo, 41 Ross Street. Me and my wife actually just moved to town, and we moved here because my sisters lived here for 15 years, and we thought it was a safe place to raise our family. So just coming from a scientific background, I just want to give some facts. This is the 36th day of 2024. The United States has already had 36 shootings, which has resulted in 66 people dying, and only 9 arrests have been made in all of those shootings. What we have also seen is the opening of any gun dealership within 100 miles and 4% increase in crime. And as a hurricane has said, the walls of the eye are the strongest, and that puts Vanderveer School right in that path. So I implore you to think about the children, our town, our surrounding towns, and not do this.
Thank you. Other public comment?
Hi there,
Hi.
Mallory Craig Karam, 41 Ross Street. I'd like to thank you all for this opportunity and giving us time to share our thoughts. I'm a new resident of Somerville. That's my wife who's getting over a cough. And we moved here from San Francisco. We've lived in New York City. We've lived in big places where crime was extremely high and violence was something that you thought about on a daily basis. Part of the reason why I work in New York City but live in Somerville is because I want to feel safe in my town, and I want my family to feel safe in my town. I am a product of the Columbine generation. I'm a 90s kid. The day I got my first cell phone was the day Columbine happened. My parents were devastated. All of our parents ran to our schools. All of our parents ran and picked us up. And ever since Columbine, every year of my education, I have had gun drills where I'm under desks, where I'm practicing covering doors with my teachers and my classmates. And I don't want that for my children and my nieces and my nephews. I have a niece who's 6 years old who goes to Vanderveer, who I see pretty much every day. I have a 3-year-old nephew. The news of the school shootings impacts them. My 6-year-old niece has asked me, Aunt Mallory, what do I do if someone brings a gun to my school and wants to hurt us? And I tell her, there will be drills, you will be safe. But what can we do to prevent my niece and my nephew and our children from experiencing what I had to experience growing up in the 2000s in the Columbine era? We can do whatever we can to make Somerville safer. It does not matter what's going on in the rest of the country. It's not a constitutional issue right now. There are ways where we can think about just our town. I just want to be here in my town and feel safe with my family. So I really implore you to think about kind of what we need as your constituents. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to close.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Roll call.
Council members: Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denny,
Yes.
Randy Pitts,
Yes.
Gina Stravic,
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
So as I had stated, first of all, thank you for all coming in. We do listen. I know some of you don't think we do, but we do. We share concerns. One of those is reflected tonight. We understand that there is a concern. And at this point, we can prepare for the future. What we can do is refer this to the planning board so they can begin to identify what zoning is appropriate and what zoning is not appropriate. In zoning laws, you can't anticipate everything. You just cannot anticipate every scenario for every store. And let me also explain that when a store conforms under zoning, It's not as if it comes to this body for a review and approval. The review and approval starts with the borough approving the zoning ordinance. Once that zoning ordinance is in place, it then has the ability to be administered. It's administrative in Borough Hall. Every business that comes into Somerville is not reviewed and approved by this governing body. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen that way. And I think there's somewhat of a misconception that we looked at this and pushed it through and said, yes, go ahead. That is not the case. The case is they complied with the existing zoning, and therefore it is allowed. Many have expressed a concern that it shouldn't be, and I understand that. I live fairly close to that area. I think actually a number of us do. We share a concern. What I would encourage you to do is to go to the zoning board, or to the planning board, when we begin this process, and talk about it. I love the folks that come with positives, that say, you know, let's think creatively about how we can look at this a little bit differently. I love that. That's what we want. That's what we need. That's what encourages the council to do things a little bit differently. And we need that. I said at the beginning of this, you know, the borough runs on volunteers. And that volunteer capability is not just, you know, sitting on a committee. What you're doing here today is also volunteering. You're volunteering your passion, your belief, your conviction, and that is a good thing. I would like to give you an answer, but you know, as it relates to this specific store, we are now precluded from speaking about it. We just can't. So I can talk in broad strokes of what the next steps are. And the next steps are creating that zoning that provides our town overall safety and security, not just for guns. This is overall. We're carving this out. We anticipated looking at our zoning ordinance overall this year. That I outlined on January 1. This is a specific request to the planning board that we take this up as a single item and begin to review this so that we can craft an appropriate zoning ordinance for the future. We may have more to say about the existing, but at this point, we can't. We just cannot say anything more on that. But I do thank you for coming out. Many of you, you know, I've seen many of you, I've talked to some of you. You know, I understand the fear, I understand the anger. I've raised 5 children in this town. I get it. I absolutely get it. But we also have to abide by laws. We live in a society of laws, and without that, it begins to destabilize. Now, I know you're going to say, well, you know, our children matter the most, and they do, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Every one of them does. Come to the planning board meetings. Be a part of that process. That is the future of what safety looks like. It's the future of what our zoning looks like. Be a part of that process and be creative about it. And at the end of it, I think you'll come out understanding a little bit better what the zoning process is, what it can do, what it can't do. But I think you'll come out of it with a good understanding, and probably more important, a part of the process. So, thank you. Sir, in regards to your comments, and you had a number of them. So the trees covering the 25-mile-per-hour signs, Kevin, can we get DPW out there tomorrow to take a look at that?
Those were installed by the state, I believe.
It doesn't matter, let's take a look at them.
Okay.
We'll
Yeah,
take a look at them.
Yeah, on
Because
Route 28.
Because if we wait for DOT, it could be forever. If we got to trim a few
I
trees,
think they just installed.
yeah, then we'll do that. On William Street, traffic enforcement, we'll step up. I'll make a call to the chief tomorrow if you can follow up with the traffic officer, Kevin, and let's begin to step up some enforcement. And William Street has been an issue for a while. It's perceived as one of those cut-throughs, and the challenge is, people are on 28 as a state highway, and they go a certain speed, and then they hit that residential area, and they don't realize it. You know, 28 turns left, they keep going. The street cleaner, I agree. It needs to be out there more. I believe we share it with Raritan, is that correct, Kevin?
No, we have one operation.
We do, because I know we lost one in the flood.
Generally during the winter months, they're not active. So
Yeah.
generally December, January.
Yeah.
Just because they're water-based.
What I will also tell you is PSE&G, I agree, William Street is horrendous. It's like driving on the moon. I have a very lengthy list for PSE&G, and that is one of them. You know, they're doing a lot of work in town. They've done a lot of work in town, but that doesn't preclude them from doing good work. Even if it's temporary, it needs to be leveled out, because that is, I mean, it's literally just, those are your speed humps. You know, people going eastbound actually have to go slow. People coming westbound are the speeders right now. As far as your water issue, if you can resend that email to Kevin, he'll send that to.
I have it.
You'll share that with me? Okay.
Yeah, we're examining the property improvements that were done in the surrounding area.
Okay.
That potentially made his property more wet.
Yeah, one of the challenges on something like that is typically it becomes a civil issue, where the borough doesn't have much control over that. But I guess Borough Hall will take a look at that, you know, your letter, and take a look at the situation. As far as the drugs issue, it's everywhere. And it's awful. Regardless of where you stand on the marijuana issue, you know, opening up stores, I'm not a big fan. But I think it leads to other things. I think if you ask a lot of police officers, they will tell you it's a gateway. My feeling is when they passed the marijuana ordinance, or the sale, overwhelmingly, the public passed it overwhelmingly, but I think the idea was to allow people in their own homes to, you know, to do what they want, not realizing the ramifications of it. You know, I drive to work at 6 o'clock in the morning, between 5:30 and 6, and I can smell it on the road from the cars in front of me. It's everywhere. It's prevalent. It's a problem. Do I have an answer for you? I don't. I think we have to look at our laws locally, statewide, and our state legislators. That's really, you know, the loosening of laws. I mean, they're talking about loosening up laws for psychedelic mushrooms now. It just, you know, 10 years ago, I don't think any legislator would have ever even considered talking about that. Well, now they're talking about it. It's a problem. What message does that send to our kids? So I agree with you. It's a big problem. Mr. Cisco, if you can share that with us, I don't disagree with you. I've tried to turn left out of that, and it's a recipe for disaster. I think what we can do is actually have our traffic officer go out. It would take some coordination, obviously, with the schools as well, to try to figure out what that solution is. Even maybe some kind of circulation plan, whether it's a right turn only out of the parking lot, whether it's, you know, in one and out, you know, the Davenport. Although Davenport gets very tight too, so when you're trying to turn out of the Davenport, that can be a problem as well, especially if you've got a larger SUV, you're swinging into traffic. So, what's that?
I have no suggestions if
Good, okay. All right, yeah, please do, please do. I think that covered all of the comments. So, but again, I thank all of you for coming out, for sharing it. This is the forum for it. This is what you're supposed to do. We, believe it or not, like to have people here at our council meetings. I can tell you from years past, having 2 and 3 people at a council meeting, it's nice to have the public engaged, so thank you. Consent resolutions. Are there any that people would like to have pulled off? All right, 050 is approving the refund of performance bonds for a total amount of $106,680.70 for the Pulte Group Somerville Station project. 51 is authorizing the Borough of Somerville to apply for 24 through 26 spotted lanternfly programs, population reduction, chemical control treatment opportunity grant through the state of New Jersey. 52 is accepting a grant of $2,074,230 from the Hazardous Discharge Site Remediation Fund program through the New Jersey EDA and the Department of Environmental Protection. 53 is authorizing vehicles to be disposed as scrap value. 54 is approving the Alfa Romeo Owners Club to utilize parking spaces in front of the historic courthouse as noted. 55 is approving overpayment refund for land disturbance permit located at 52 Fairview Avenue to Derner Re, Inc. 56 is requesting that the Somerville Borough Planning Board conduct a review of the current zoning laws and regulations regarding firearms, retail stores, and outlets, and propose recommendation to the Borough Council for consideration. 57, authorizing an intent to purchase a 24 Chevy Tahoe under New Jersey state contract through Gentili Motors and lighting package through East Coast Emergency Lighting for a total amount of $77,246.32. 58 is approving Spartan Spirit 5K Saturday, June 22, 8:30 a.m., contingent on OEM and PD approvals. 59 is approving the Central Jersey Corvette Club to utilize parking spaces in front of the courthouse June 7 and August 2, 2024, 5 to 9 p.m. for cruise night display. 060 is approving a 24 Farmers Market seasonal fee schedule and application process for the Somerset County Regional Farmers Market. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Bills and vouchers.
Yes, sir. I would like to move in the amount of $2,072,653.88.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Roll call.
Council members: Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denny,
Yes.
Randy Pitts,
Yes.
Gina Stravic,
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
I need to recuse myself from the January 9th and 10th duty vouchers. The rest, yes.
Great, thank you.
All right. I'm going to ask for a motion for adjournment. Tom's not here, so who wants it? Randy made the motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? This meeting is adjourned.